Hi, this is Jay here from Jeremy Jacob Letting Specialist. Advice for tenants. What should they think about as they're coming towards the end of their tenancy? A property, I would like and hope to think a landlord has organised the professional clean of the property before you moved in. The best practice is to return it as you found it. So get it professionally cleaned, and I think that creates really good spirit and good faith in the way you end the tenancy with a landlord. The thing is, if you leave a property completely messy and dirty, think about it through the lens of an inventory clerk or even a landlord. If they're coming into the property to inspect for any damages, how can they tell it in the moment if it's attributed to dirt or actually some damage on the wall when that could have been cleaned? So my advice would be do a professional clean. That's a key thing. But before you get there, before we get to that part, when should you start looking for a new property? I presume if you are moving on, you may have arrived to the point, maybe you are in a space where you feel like you need more space now, maybe your family's grown or you've moved in with a partner, and that's often a reason and a motivation why people decide to move on. When is the time to do that? Normally, an agent will get in touch with a tenant and a landlord with 2 months to go of the tenancy, and it's normally reflected in agreements that that's when the agent, should a tenant decide they want to move out, they'll put it back onto the market. So you're going to go into your search knowing that you've got 2 months to kill, and you might very well be looking at properties where tenants are moving out of those properties and they're seeing out 2 months' notice. So the window of time might not ever be quite perfect. And I think one needs to appreciate that there could be a degree of crossover period, a window, where you may have to pay double rent. We can obviously try and do our best to avoid that. Now, what can you do? Well, I would think this: in the first 2 months, you're at the 2 months marker now. I think you should start going out and doing your research, doing your viewings. Now, if you see any properties with 2 months to go, it's like perfect timing. If you get in touch with the property you want to take, it might be the case that the tenant who's moving out can move out just a few days earlier or even a few days later. If you're winding down the clock and you maybe get to a month to go of your tenancy, and now you're looking at properties where the tenant's only got 2 months, still has 2 months to go before they move out, there's a couple of things you can do. If you find the property you want and you've got to wait 2 months and you have 1 month to go, you can retreat. Go back to your landlord, check, has the property been let yet? Hopefully it hasn't, and maybe you can extend by another month. So I think the one thing that I would certainly encourage you to do is just to stay in touch, keep friendly with your agent, keep friendly with your landlord if they're managing it directly with you, and just stay in communication. If the clock ticks all the way down and you've literally come to almost the end of your tenancy, and then you find the property that you really want to take, but there is a 2 months wait, sometimes it's just unfortunate. There's, what can you do? Could you potentially stay with a friend? Could you go traveling for a bit? Could you stay in a hotel? Are you willing to pay 2 months worth of potentially a short let even? Of course, the obvious thing, quickly retreat to your landlord if so far it hasn't been rented yet, your property that you're leaving behind. There's every opportunity the landlord will grant you an extension. So there are ways to do it. You just have to stay in contact with your agent and landlord, and fingers crossed. I think it's better to be organised and go for it early, and if it means paying double rent, I think it's better because there's less stress. So obviously, if you're paying double rent for 2 months, that wouldn't be good. But I think reasonably, I would say from my experience, a month to 3 weeks crossover of paying double rent before you move into your new property is pretty normal, and I wouldn't feel too hard beat if it turns out that way. Hope this helps.